Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to our 4th ever exclusive bonus episode here on Patreon. Obviously, you know I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Sean.
How we doing?
We're not going to go through all the rigmarole. We never do. We're here hanging out with y'all, and we appreciate you being patrons. Like, thank you. I mean, how many times can I say it? It's never enough, but thank you guys so much. What do we want to do this month is... those things have been floating around me too.
This is like a little fuzz off of my microphone.
No, I think it was Death Stranding. That was like one of the chiral...
It was a hair. It was like a...
It's Death Stranding.
Thread.
It's threads, strands, connecting people. Kind of how CinemaSins says no movie is without sin. No game is without sin. So we had an idea. We thought about being like, what are we thankful for? Because it's Thanksgiving time. But it's like, we've talked about this probably 3 times before on the podcast, and it would probably be a 5-minute bonus episode. I'd say Kojima, he'd say Zelda and Final Fantasy, and we'd move on. So what we want to do is look at, in the vein of CinemaSins, we're not gonna go like everything wrong with blank. But Sean had this good idea to do the
worst parts of best games.
Yeah, the worst parts of our favorite games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through, the way we're going to do this actually is, I think we're just going to run through each of our top 10 lists, our top 10 favorite games of all time. They may have changed a little bit because we did this a little bit over a year ago. We did it actually almost exactly a year ago for Extra Life for Nerd 901 last year. But just like, even though these are our favorite games of all time, nothing's perfect. And I think it'd just be a fun little exercise.
I agree.
Would you like to kick it off?
Get off. Yeah, we're just gonna go in order.
Whatever. Yeah, let go bottom to top, and then we have some repeats, and we can just tag team it back again.
So my number 10, as of the last time we made this list, number 10, Resident Evil 7. This game, I will say, for the first like half or so, probably is perfect.
Yes,
I mean, yeah. I think where this game kind of falls off for me, as we've talked about a couple times, is the end. It just doesn't. It becomes not Resident Evil anymore. When you're like in the caves, and I think you've got like a. Maybe I'm thinking of one of like the side. What am I trying to say? The side missions,
the DLC stuff.
Yeah,
whatever,
maybe I'm thinking that, but.
No,
because it's even worse
in
in that. But I think even in the original, you've got like a semi-automatic or something at that point, and you're just
it's
like,
Resident Evil 6 at that point. Yes.
Yeah.
Or what I did, because I suck at video games, I was like, F this, and I kept getting killed, so I was like, I'm just going to run. And I ran through the caves, because I was like, this, yeah.
Now, what I will say, a recurring thing that I think maybe pops up a few times on my list, just in general, a thing that always bugs me about games is when something happens where it's like you are no longer controlling who you've been controlling, or you have a party and that party gets split up, or stuff like that.
Okay.
And there's something, it's been a while since I played this, but I know that there's something like that I don't like when you go to the ship.
Yeah,
because you lose all I think you lose all your stuff, or something,
you're
playing a
else.
Flashback. That's what it is.
You play as Mia.
That's what it is. It's during the flashback, and then you're actually there.
Oh, you're right. Oh, see,
it's been so long since I've played, but
you're
like
right.
That's my least favorite part about this. And the way I'm looking at this won't apply to every single one of these games, but when I had this concept in my mind, what I really thought about it as are not just the parts I don't like or the least favorite parts of games that I like, but it's
bad parts.
Times where like the thought of this particular part would make me not want to play this game again, that kind of thing. And honestly, it's up there with me for that. I don't mind the caves so much because it's not like it's not fun anymore. It just doesn't feel like Resident Evil.
Right.
I do not like this part on the boat.
Well, also the final boss fight is just like
in a coat. But it's just
green eggs and Sam Porter Bridges.
Yeah. So that's probably my least favorite part of Resident Evil 7.
My number 10 was Uncharted 4. I think that's probably still accurate, but this game, there's a couple things with this game. It's one of my favorite stories ever told in games. I will say that. My favorite ending since Metal Gear Solid 3. But, and I'm not going to spoil it because at some point, okay, yeah, after Jedi, you ain't got nothing to play, homie. Okay, now you got something to play. You're playing it. You're going to look at the cutscenes of 3 and you're going to play 4. Well, but now I'm going to tell you why it sucks. The problems I have with Uncharted 4 is there's two things for me. It's too long. For a linear game, I don't remember how many chapters it has. It might be like 21 or something. They're not like Death Stranding chapters. The whole game I think it took me about 16 and a half hours to beat, which doesn't seem like that long, but it's like there's so many parts where it feels like it's padded for no reason. Like the story is awesome, but the gameplay, like the new things they added in, driving the truck is okay. The winch like gets annoying. You're like, oh, I got to this hill, I can't go up. Oh, what do you know? I bet I need to get out of the Jeep, walk up there, grab the winch, attach it to this tree, and then go back to the Jeep and pull myself up. Let's do that 15 more times. To bring Jedi Fallen Order in this, let's just slide down shit for no reason. We're on Patreon, I don't care. Let's slide down shit for no reason and then have the camera follow you and not where you actually need to go so that when you slide and jump, you actually know where the hell you're supposed to go. You don't. The end of this game, before you get to this like ship thing where you have the final boss fight, it almost made me want to quit because it was like, I don't know where the frick I'm supposed to jump. It was pissing me off. So for me, Uncharted 4 sounds like I hate it. As much as I like this game, I love the story, the gameplay, the gunplay and stuff was the best it's been in Uncharted, but it's padded out way too much. It's too long. It's like they just wanted it to be longer. Like this should have been a 10-hour game.
Yeah.
Uncharted should be 8 to 10 hours every time, no more than that. That's why Uncharted Lost Legacy was so good because it was like 6 hours. And it didn't overstay its welcome. It was so much fun for that short amount of time. But that's what I would say for Uncharted 4. Now, my number 9, I'm not going to do now because I really have to think about this because everything else on this list, I have something. For this, I don't know.
There's a couple where when I was looking through my list, I'm like, ooh, I don't really know.
What was your number 9?
Number 9 for me is Spider-Man PS4.
I can't think of, well,
now you
Platinum.
hated, I think, all of the like Mary Jane and
duh, yes, I would 100%.
What's his name? Miles parts.
No. I
just Mary Jane.
The Miles stuff.
See, I didn't. So I didn't mind it the first time.
I hated
when
Mary
I played
Jane.
through it again. It was getting the platinum.
Even the Miles
The
part
second
when everything
time
goes
through,
to shit.
that one part was pretty cool.
Okay.
But the part where you're like watchdog and like
okay.
hacking things and trying to sneak by people, they really bugged me the second time through. It didn't bother me too much the first time, but that second time through, I was like, I get why Kevin was saying he hated this because it was like I'm feeling it. I'm in the zone, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I'm Mary Jane and I'm taking Spider-Man. Pictures of art or and honestly, and otherwise perfect,
amazing
game to me. Like it's great. Those parts didn't need to be there. It just there's no point.
That's so funny that I
and it
completely
just
blocked that out of my
to
memory.
A halt. Yeah.
Because that's why it was not even, in my mind, not even close to God of War. God of War was a 10 for me. This was a solid 9, but that's why it was only a 9, was those damn freaking stealth not being Spider-Man parts.
Right. And that's goes along with what I was saying. It's the kind of stuff where you're just taken out of what the game has been.
Yep.
You're not controlling the same person anymore, or you lose all your abilities, or just things like that. And it happens in a lot of games, and almost every time
it's for the worst.
I don't like it. Yeah, to me it never adds anything to it.
Yep. Well, my number 9 game, and I think my top 10 is probably still accurate. I might flip-flop 4 and 5 actually, but we'll get there when we get there. Number 9 is Super Mario World. Help.
So I got Mario World on here too.
I don't know what I would change other than I've never 100%ed this game. Like,
this is one that
it's perfect. Like, it's not my favorite game of all time, but it is everything on here I consider at least a 9.5 out of 10. But
So
this is
there's
like
two
a
ways we
10.
can look at this. There is, what is your least favorite part about these games? It's always easy to come up with, or not easy, but it's always possible to come up with. This
not
is
like-
probably the part that I liked the least.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily bad.
But
the
there's
way I
nothing-
envisioned this was like, what is wrong with this game? This game is great except for blank. My least favorite part of this game is Force of Illusion because I can never remember where all the secret exits
Okay.
are and whatever. But it's still fine. That doesn't. I don't think that takes away from the game, but that's probably my least favorite part. So I don't know.
This game might be
This
my-
game is not ruined. Another thing, I guess, I always dread the ghost houses, and that's right up there with Force of Illusion. Is that even what it's called?
Yeah.
Or is that Mickey Mouse? Castle of Illusion.
That's Castle.
Okay, so it is
It's a
Force of Illusion. And it's the same reason why I don't like Force of Illusion is because I don't remember how to get out of these ghost houses sometimes. And it's
Well,
the
and they
same
can
thing
have,
I don't
three
like about
exits.
like Mario 3 and even Mario 1 when you have like the
The
maze
puzzle,
levels. To me, that's not Mario. I guess that would be my least favorite part, but it's not like... It's nothing that would be like, I don't want to play Mario World because I don't like the ghost houses. Like,
No,
it's
Mario
not
World
that
is still
bad.
perfect. So
Yeah.
I'll go with your answer and move on to number 8.
Yeah. Well, my number 8 is Chrono Trigger.
I cannot help you.
This one's also tough. I can't think of a.
I feel like this game is
specific
pretty much
part.
perfect.
Yeah, I can't think of a specific part in this that I don't like. I know around the part where you get, I can't remember his name. I mean, you can name him whatever you want, but the robot guy. I think he comes as just Robo. Is his name?
Are you serious?
I don't know. When you're in that time period in like the wasteland kind of thing, that always seems to be the part. I can zoom through that game until I get to there. And then it always kind of slows down, and sometimes that's around when I stop playing. I don't even remember why off the top of my head.
Why you stopped playing?
Yeah, like what's so bad about it?
How far in is that? Do you know?
Maybe a third of the way through the game.
But how long is Chrono Trigger? If I could get through a freaking turn-based RPG, should it be this or Final Fantasy VII? I know that's way higher on your list, but still.
If you want to just try to play a turn-based RPG,
Yes.
what you should play, because I, think
I
it's
know
the
you're going to
first
say
one.
Super Mario RPG.
Yes. That's so easy to pick up. It's characters you know.
But I
There's
almost feel like
nothing-
I'm being insulted. by
No.
that. Okay.
No, it's so much
Not by
fun.
you. I'm just
No,
saying
no,
by
I know.
like what the game is. Yeah.
I mean, I call it baby's first RPG, but like it's so good. I think you should try it. Like
I got it. I got the SNES Classic.
that would be the one to play. And if
Okay.
you like that and you can get through it, I mean, Chrono Trigger is a little advanced, but
But is it more advanced than Final Fantasy VII? What has turned me off on turn-based RPGs was the freaking demo that I played for Octopath Traveler. Because remember when I was like, Sean,
you just need to learn how
what
to
do I
play
do?
those types of games. And
yeah, I don't know what
like,
I'm supposed to defend, attack, wait, active, passive, whatever. Like I want to like these games. I just have no idea what the I'm doing.
You learn as you go. So you can't just go into every match and say attack every time it's your turn. Attack,
that's
attack.
how I
Because
play
sometimes
games.
there are enemies where they have super high physical defense.
Okay.
If it's like a water elemental or something, you're probably not going to do much damage by hitting it with the sword. You probably want to use your thunder magic on it or something like that. There will be some enemies where they don't do anything, but there's like a countdown. And it's like, ooh, I'm charging. And after like its
Okay.
turn passes 3 times, it lets out this crazy strong
like a
attack.
Cyclops.
Right. And
Yeah.
so you know, oh, he just said 1.
Okay.
Okay, next time he attacks, it's going to be this crazy Shinku Hadouken,
So I
whatever.
need to do
That's when
defense.
you'd be like, hey, everybody, let's just defend for 1 turn. Let's not attack because we need to prepare for this attack. So it's just, you need to just think
Okay.
about what it is. And there are some fights, boss fights especially, where you're likely to die because you're still trying to figure
But
out
it's
the
trial and
pattern.
error. Yeah, okay.
So if you just go into it and just, I'm just going to attack, yeah, you're probably going to die. You need to keep an eye on your health. You need to, I don't know. There's an art to it.
Yeah.
But I think if you can get through Mario RPG, that's a start.
That's at least
you
like
can,
it's
you
like
can definitely get through
RPG
that.
101 basically.
Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah. So Chrono Trigger, I don't know. Again, that's probably my least favorite part of it. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's the part that always seems to like I just kind of start to lose interest around there.
Number 8 for me, Metal Gear Solid. Yep. The only thing I can think of here is the camera, because this was... I don't remember when the DualShock actually came out to where you had dual analogs, but like the camera is the one thing I would say, other than, I mean, the graphics suck and whatever, but I think the game suffers for the camera because it's tank controls. It's different than Resident Evil, but it's still stank. It's still
Stank.
stank. It's still it's stank controls.
Stank, stunk.
Like it. Metal Gear didn't figure out the camera until you got to Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence 7 years later when that came out in 2005. Everything else about the game, like the story obviously is just perfect. The gameplay is fine. I just think if you could add in a movable camera with the right stick, that would make this game, I'm not saying it would make it easier. It would just make it would make more sense in 2019 compared to what it was in 1998 when tank controls was all you had pretty much, other than like Mario 64. I don't know, Donkey Kong 64. I'm sure it had a 3D camera and everything as well, but Metal Gear Solid is pretty much perfect. The only thing I would change would be the camera. I would not say to play Twin Snakes because that game sucks. So
fair enough.
And it crashes every time I try to play it.
Okay, so my number 7 was Mario World. We've already covered that.
Yep.
Number 6, Final Fantasy X. Now, this is right.
Get rid of Titus's laugh.
Final Fantasy X, there's a part called I think it's called Via Purifico, and it's
Holy
one of those
shit.
parts.
I remember you talking about this before.
Really? This is the part, just like I was talking about before, where
Oh my!
your party
Yes,
is split
okay,
up.
yeah.
And when you start, you only have Yuna, who doesn't attack. Like, she hits with her staff. She's like,
She done
"Eh."
that?
She's just...
This is why y'all should subscribe.
She's a white mage.
Okay.
So, like, she's there for, like, healing and stuff like that. So when you've only got her... Now, granted, they're not throwing tough enemies at you.
But
they're
still.
throwing enemies you can just be like, doink, with
It'd be
your
like
staff
me
and kill 'em.
fighting
But you're
something.
going through... It's a maze, which I don't like. And you're, like, trying to rebuild your party, and you're using people that you're not used to using. And
Okay.
it's like, just... I want to get through this. Give me my team back. And, like... It's just... by far my least favorite part of the game. And it's right in line with what I was saying before. And a lot of games, as I'm thinking about this, a lot of games have parts like this, especially role-playing games.
Right.
And it drives me nuts. That's one of the reasons why I've still, to this day, never finished Final Fantasy 3, 6, whatever, Mafia. Because there's this part where
It took me a minute.
your team
Right.
gets split up. There's like 3 of you, and you all go your own like separate ways. And it's like, which one?
But
do you
now
want to go
doesn't-
with so and so as he goes to the desert? Do you want to go with so and so as he goes to explore the caves, or do you
Right.
want to go with so and so as he rafts down the river?
wait,
and I'm like,
now-
I'm gonna go with this guy, and then I got through it. I'm like, thank God.
And then it happens
Then you
again.
get through it, and it's like, okay, now do you want to go with this guy or that guy? So you have to play through all 3. I thought it was just like a choose your own adventure.
I'm glad
And
my
once I
save
got
crashed
through-
on my Vita, so
once I
I
got
never have to
through-
play this stupid game.
Yeah, well, once I got through 1, I'm like, no, I'm done. I don't want to go through this crap where I'm.
But wait, doesn't... And maybe it's just that the game style is so much different, but doesn't this happen in 15 also?
15 was something weird. There's something, yeah. One of your guys goes blind,
Oh, that's right. Okay.
and you can't. I mean, you can still use them, but it's yeah. Final Fantasy. Now that I think about it, it's a pretty common thing in Final Fantasy games.
Is this what has kept you from playing Octopath?
No, I don't know what has. I can't imagine I wouldn't like that game.
Yeah.
It's just always tough to dive into a new RPG because you want to identify with the characters so much, and it just seems so overwhelming that I'm like, I don't know what this world is. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what they're doing, and it's just
But I mean, every Final Fantasy is a new
that's true.
cast of characters.
Yeah. So I don't see why.
I still say they should have called that Final Fantasy 16. I mean, it's
Yeah.
from Square.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine I wouldn't like that. That's something I definitely do need to play at some point. But yeah, Final Fantasy X Via Purifico.
So I'll do 7 and 6 for me. Number 7 for me, I forgot it was this low, but it's probably accurate. Metal Gear Solid 5. when this game came out, I thought it was going to be my favorite game of all time, and it's obviously not even close. The best the gameplay has ever been in Metal Gear, but the story, and we'll never really know what the hell happened with Kojima and Konami, and this was cut, that was cut, whatever. My biggest gripe with this game is that it was open world, because I think Metal Gear Solid, I should say, has always been about the gameplay, yes, but it's the story that backs the gameplay. And the story here, while I love the twist and the reveal, at this point, if you don't know, I won't spoil it.
It's really right up there with 3 in terms of how did we miss this? Like,
I watched every freaking video saying it's not okay. If you haven't played this game yet, I'm going to spoil the hell out of it. 3,
like right in the
2,
beginning,
1.
You've got a guy with his face suspiciously
with your
bandaged
same
up,
voice.
and he has your voice. Like,
not only
why
that,
did nobody
you
think-
wake up to a song called "The Man That Sold the World" that is about a freaking doppelganger. Remember that when we had the podcast thing?
Ganger?
It was like 4 years ago. They said Ganger, and you're like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "No, on Castlevania 3, they said Ganger," and you're like, "What are you talking? They didn't have voices in Castlevania 3." But it's like it's a song about a doppelganger, and like I get the it makes sense that you don't play as Big Boss the whole time. It makes sense for the rest of Metal Gear how
that was awful.
I was laughing through it. Big Boss.
That was pretty good.
Because it makes sense for Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2. And I mean Metal Gear, not Metal Gear Solid. It makes sense that you're not the real big boss. The twist I liked. What I didn't like was just like, go round up these sheep and kill these people in this thing and Fulton these guys and do whatever. It's like the actual missions, and the thing that killed it for me is when you go into a mission, if it doesn't say written by Hideo Kojima, if it says written by Shuyo Murata, it's like, well, I don't care. This isn't going to matter. Why do I care? I wish Metal Gear Solid 5 would have not been open world. It should have been linear like all the rest. You can make a linear Metal Gear game that's still 25, 30, 40 hours, whatever, and I would be fine with it. But just making it open world, the open world in Death Stranding works so much better to me.
Well, but see,
than in Metal Gear
I
Solid
kind
5.
of argue. I mean, it's obviously open world, but it's also you have the option of making it open world, or you can just play through the stories, and it's like it's still set in one big world. But it's like you go here and you do this. Now, my next mission, I'm going to go here and do this.
The problem is if you do that, So when I started playing it a couple years ago on a fresh save, I was like, "There's not enough story here." The fun of the game for me was just playing through that open world. As much as I'm saying I don't like it, it was playing through that open world where if you just mainline the story, there's not like, it doesn't feel like a Metal Gear game. Yeah. Like the gameplay is, and this is why I want them still to this day, or Blue Point or somebody, to remake Metal Gear Solid 3 or Metal Gear 1 and 2, whatever. Like the stories are what make Metal Gear, at least in my mind. It's never been the gameplay until 5. The gameplay's never been good. It was kind of good in 4, but 4 was basically like Gears of War. So who cares? The story, the cutscenes, everything was just lacking. The game just ends. We don't know if it was supposed to. Whatever, episode 51 was cut, or he wanted to cut it. Whatever. I don't know. But Metal Gear Solid 5 had the potential to be the best game of all time, and to me, it's not even close. My number 6 is The Legend of Zelda. 1. The only thing that I can say with this game, because I know there's all those babes out there like Logan.
Babes?
Love you, brother. I said babies. He's not a babe. I mean, I love you. But why'd you say that? I will say, looking at it now, 23 years after it came out in the U.S., it's not accessible. It's very obtuse. Extreme, which is one of the reasons Link's Awakening is not going to be my game of the year this year. It's just... It's so obtuse that like you and I could, I mean, not literally, but kind of literally could play it with our eyes closed. Like we know where to go, the order to do everything.
We'll do that at Extra Life next year.
Okay.
Somebody plays with their eyes closed. The other person's guiding them.
Yes. Like,
That could
okay,
actually
you're
work.
starting the money run.
Maybe that would work better with Mario. Or Mario 3 or
No,
something.
Mario, it can't because you fall down a cliff, you die. No. I like what I smell what you're cooking. I like it too.
I too
was
did.
gonna say I like what you're cooking. Oh, well, I don't like that. Can you think of anything else, like other than just the obtuseness of it, the inaccessibility of it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's like a single part that I dread about that game. I get in hindsight, like that's, that's what makes it not a perfect game.
The last level is
not
confusing as hell, but I like that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it. There's no single part of that game that I'm just like, oh god, it's it's this part. There's nothing about it.
You do.
No, I didn't. I was actually kidding. I didn't.
What do I smell? Me?
Maybe. I mean, I tooted a while ago.
Okay, well, then it finally made its way over.
I mean, it could be me, but
What's your number 5?
this one's tough. I can't. I really. 5 for me is Symphony of the Night. I really can't think of anything.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess I can't say that it's perfect, but I don't know.
But it's like a solid
There's
9.5
no single
all the way.
There's no
Yeah.
single part that I'm like that I dread.
How do you play as Richter in this game or other characters? You can play. I at some point I said in our old podcast, I was like, oh, apparently you can play as Richter or whatever. I'm like, you can't, because I've looked it up, but I don't know how you actually do it.
Is it like a game genie or something?
No, it's I don't know if it's beating the game or if it's doing something in the game to trigger it. Whatever, I don't know.
When are we getting Bloodstained DLC?
That is correct.
That was a question.
That is a correct question. I have no idea. Shovel Knight's out in a few weeks.
Okay. Anyways, I really don't know.
I have
don't
no
think
idea
I can
what
think
I
of
would change.
anything.
I guess maybe. Is there a water part to that?
There's some, and that's one
But
of
it's
the
not
harder
like
parts of the
Meridia.
game. But it's not.
Wow.
I don't know. I got nothing. There's not a single thing. It's my number 5 game. It's not my favorite game of all time, but I can't think of a
Maybe it
single
should
thing
be.
that I would
Right.
change about it. I got nothing.
I got nothing either. Unless you could like add projectile weapons.
But now you're talking about things that it would be cool if they had.
It's a new game.
There's
right.
nothing
Yeah.
about this game that I'm like, I don't like this thing about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I got nothing.
Okay.
So maybe some games are without sin.
Maybe. Right.
Final Fantasy X is definitely not without sin.
Because he's the bad guy.
You got it. I wasn't sure if you were going to get that.
Number 5 for me, Horizon Zero Dawn. The only thing I can think of, because I love this game, I love the story. I love how good the bow feels. Normally, I don't like bows in video games. Bows and hoes. The only thing I can think of here is that it's really more like a personal preference to me is, well, first off, the facial animations. But if I'm being serious, I hope this is something they fix for 2, is I hope the like close quarters, not CQC, but the close quarters combat is better. Like, you've just got a lance and you don't get to upgrade it until super late in the game. I love the stealth. I love the way the bow feels and everything. But when you get close to a robot dinosaur or a person or whatever, like the melee combat doesn't feel as good. I would like if they give Aloy like a knife or like something that would change the combat when you get close. I guess is the only thing that I wish this game had that it doesn't.
Yeah. No, I could see that. It's been so long since I've played the game that I honestly don't even remember that being.
It's
I
not
don't
like
even
it's
really
bad.
remember what the close quarters combat is.
You don't do it a lot, but and it's not that it's bad. It's just like this could be better. Like this could be even higher. And I think again, this was my number 5. I think I'm going to swap it with 4 if we redid this list. But yeah, I know what yours is.
So my number
and it's the
4,
same thing for me. So go ahead and say it.
Breath of the Wild.
Say it.
I mean, the easiest thing.
Yes.
Honestly, there's
As
as we've
well,
talked
there's
about
multiple.
many times.
There's really multiple, but for me, it's one.
The main thing is the weapons.
Yes.
And the shields to a lesser extent. And I mean, all the breakable stuff. I also am not a big fan of the quote unquote dungeons and the boss fights that go along with them. However, if I could only change one thing about this game, it would be the breakable weapons.
I agree.
I would much rather fix that than have more
It
typical Zelda levels with unique bosses, but still have all the breakable weapons.
It would make
I don't like it at all.
It would make me. Did you ever check your saves? You still haven't.
I checked to see if there was. I mean, yeah, I guess I did, and no, I don't have saves.
It would make me much more likely to go back and actually play this game if I didn't have to worry about, like, I've got the Master Sword, but it's going to power down, or I've got this awesome Guardian Sword and it's going to break.
I got the healing shield. I never use it because I'm afraid that it still breaks. It's not invincible, and once it breaks, I'm like, well, now I don't have the healing shield anymore.
I'm so interested to see what the hell Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be, because obviously it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but I think there's so much more they can do with that formula. If they're going to use the same world, whatever, but like, give us. I'm trying to not just do what Sean said, but like, give us dungeons. Yeah. Like, Link's Awakening is not going to be my game of the year. I thought it might have been. It's not. It's up there, but like, it did make me realize, God, I miss like dungeons in Zelda. Give me 8 dungeons with new items that you need to use to solve puzzles in that dungeon, to beat the boss and everything else. Like, other than the breakable weapons, go back to that. Like, you can still do open world Zelda. You could do Breath of the Wild with actual dungeons, I guess is what I would have wanted.
Yeah.
Without breakable weapons.
Okay, that's cool.
What?
Ray is Joker.
Oh, I hope he kicks his ass. Cut to Ron Howard. So that was both our number 4s. Number 3, Sean.
Number 3. Ugh. Okay, if I had to change anything, this is what I would change. Because I think I've already said it. I got number 3, Link to the Past. I think that should be my number 1. But here we are. It's number 3 on this list.
Wait, let me go first because it's my number 2.
Okay.
So number 3 for me is God of War 2018. Literally the only thing I would change is the map. The map sucks. I talked about it last week when I was talking about Jedi Fallen Order. The map in God of War sucks ass. I'm glad it's a Patron exclusive. It sucks ass. It sucks balls. It sucks everything. Like, the game is so perfect, but like when I went back, Mario Maker, when I went back, it didn't come through. There was the garage. When I went back and
cut to Ron Howard.
It wasn't. When I went back and played through it for the second time, the only thing I did when I wasn't chasing the platinum or anything. If you don't know us, then whatever. Feeling a little. When I wasn't chasing the platinum, the only thing I didn't like is how it's 2019. How do we have maps that are bad? Like, I know what they were going for with the map for God of War, but like, it's almost like a more dense, realistic, whatever version of Google Maps if you go to satellite view. You know what I mean? Because it's not like you can go street view and whatever. Like, my problem with God of War when I was playing through it both times was like, you don't know which way you're supposed to go to get your next objective. And that's literally the only thing I can say. Everything else in that game is perfect. So the map. All right, Link to the Past. Fart to the past.
So
I have 2 things.
I will say this is my favorite game of all time. So it will be tough for me to nitpick.
I really think you need to play Ocarina again. Because for 20 years, that's been your favorite game.
Yeah. So the only thing I can think of is there's been a couple times where I'm like, I don't know what I want to play. I'm going to do another Link to the Past playthrough. And then I start it, and then I'm just like, nah, I don't really care.
Really?
And for some reason, it's just getting started.
To the Dark World? Okay.
Not even that far. It's almost just like, oh, I gotta go. My uncle. I gotta go down there and get my sword so I can go down there and kill the rats and the bats so I can did it. And it's just like, I mean, the very beginning. I will say, if nothing else, it's a game that basically just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
It starts out great, and it only gets better from there, I guess. The beginning is probably my least favorite part. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's probably my least favorite part. It's just the very beginning. Like, I just want to dive right in. And you could say the same thing about almost every
Every
Zelda
Zelda,
game,
yeah.
and Twilight Princess probably one of the worst offenders. And I don't remember much about it. It's not a great game anyway, but I almost want to say Skyward Sword was even worse about that.
Okay.
I don't remember how it starts, but like, oh yes, I do.
Thought you were doing a bit.
So I don't know. I guess the very, very beginning is my least favorite part.
Well,
but again, there's nothing wrong with it.
yeah. So I have two things. One, Moldorm. Because
That was my foot.
I thought that was your stomach. Moldorm is the most, like, he's not bad in Link Between Worlds, Link's Awakening, or Link's Awakening Remake. He's not. In Zelda 3, he's just horrible. But for me, the only thing I would say, and this is why I want it to be remade so bad, is just because, like, fresh coat of paint, whatever. Like, I think as it is, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, Link has pink hair, whatever. I don't care. I wish you had one more item button, like every other Zelda game after it. Like, X should not be the map. Select should be the map. Start should be your menu, and then down here there's like, you want to save? Cool. Like, you don't need X to be the map. If X was so if I could have the hook shot and the boomerang at the same time, maybe it breaks the game. I don't know, but those are the I hate Moldorm, and I think there should be 2 item buttons.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
But the game's perfect. So I'm reaching here. Sean, number 2.
Number 2, I have Final Fantasy VII.
I cannot think. I haven't beat the game, but I can't think of anything that should be changed.
So, I would say the only thing, and it's the Final Fantasy X thing all over again.
The laugh.
There's a part where you lose Cloud. I think it's the beginning of the 3rd disc.
Really?
Not permanently, but like
I know, but like,
yeah.
spoilers.
I'm
kidding.
And so you start controlling like Tifa and Barrett, and I'm just like, can I just have Cloud back?
Yeah.
Like,
so it's every Final Fantasy game they do this.
Pretty much. I'm trying to think if they do it in 12. 12 is weird because you don't really have a main character. Like 10
Really?
and 7, it's like you're Titus and party. You're Cloud and party. 12, the main character is Vaughn, but like you don't even have to. You can just have him not be in your party. You can swap out your main character. It's not like you're always him and who's your supporting cast.
Okay.
You can have anybody you want in your party. And so 12.
Does the story make sense then?
Yeah, I mean,
if you're not Vaughn?
It's centered around Vaughn.
Okay.
Like,
but you
he's
can
very
see it
much
from
the
like the
main
periphery,
character,
like Metal Gear
but
Solid
like
2
you
or
can just be
something?
like, I don't want to play as Vaughn. I'm going to play as Bosch and Balthier and Pinello or whatever. And you can just you aren't forced to have him in there. And so I don't know if there's a part like that in 12, but 7. Anybody that's played 7, you know the part. I don't like when you lose him, and even the part where you're doing the stuff where you get him back. I won't spoil that. Also not a big fan of. It's not that long. It's not even that bad, but it's almost just like...
I had no idea this was a thing. That's weird.
Yeah. It's just... And again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's just a personal
It's just
thing.
not as
I just
good.
don't like it. Like, give me Cloud. I just want to be Cloud. He's probably the best video game character ever, in my opinion. That's who I want to be. I don't want to be anybody else.
It'd be like if you played Metal Gear Solid 2 and it's like you're riding. It'd be weird.
It would be like that.
It'd be weird.
So that's 10. Another thing in 10. It's optional, so I can't. It's tough to hold it against it.
Right.
But again, it's Titus. I want to get Titus's ultimate weapon. And the thing you have to do, the chocobo race thing with the balloons, it drives me nuts. It's just... At that part, I do truly dread. And it's optional.
Is it required? Okay.
It's optional, but if you want to get his ultimate weapon, which obviously you do, you have to do it. And I know every time I play through this game, I'm going to do it because I want his ultimate weapon.
You did it,
but I legitimate dread that part. I'm as it gets closer, I'm already just like, oh God, it's almost that part where I have to do this, and it's just,
Is it just, does it control horribly or what is it?
It's mainly that it controls horribly. Okay. So you're riding a chocobo, and you've got birds and balloons flying at you. You need to... It controls horribly, which is the main thing. You need to hit as many balloons as you can. So every balloon...
it's like Sonic.
So you're timed. And you basically need to get to the finish line with a negative time. And you get negative by... Every balloon you hit takes 3 seconds off your time. Every bird you hit, I want to say maybe adds 3 seconds. Plus it like hits you and you slow down. Right. Maybe it doesn't actually add time. Maybe it just slows you down. So it basically does. But so you get to the finish line, and if you finish it in like 29.7 seconds and you got 10 balloons, that's 29.7 minus 30. So you got minus 0.3.
Okay. So
you get the thing to get your ultimate weapon. But the controls are awful.
This was 12?
10.
Okay.
I don't know. I got on a sidetrack here. That's back to 10. 7, the same thing. You lose Cloud, your party changes, whatever. I always hate that.
I don't get that. I don't know why they...
I hate it. It's just, it doesn't add... I know they're trying to just like tell a story, but it's just like...
Well, it's what, honestly, it's what Metal Gear Solid 2 was trying to do to make Solid Snake more of like a... SmackDown one. I don't care.
Keith Lee pinned Rollins, and it came down to Keith and Roman, and then Roman beat him.
I hope Keith threw Seth through the center of the earth because he sucks. He's the worst wrestler of all time. God, I friggin' hate Seth so much. He's such a dickhead. He's a fucking dickhead. We're on Patreon. He's a fucking dickhead. Seth Rollins is. So, anyways, what? God dang it! What was I talking about?
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh. I think it's what Metal Gear Solid 2 was trying to accomplish by making Snake into Iroquois Pliskin. Like, you get a view of him that's completely different. By being on the outside, you're not controlling him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it something like that? Is that what Final Fantasy keeps trying to do, or no?
I don't know. I really don't know what the point of it is. I think it's just...
But they do it every freaking game. Do they do it in 8 and 9 too? Also?
I haven't played... I don't think I ever beat... Actually, I didn't beat either of them.
But you've played 8.
Yeah, I don't remember a part where that happens, but usually if that happens...
You didn't get far enough.
Yeah, in both 10 and 7...
blame it on me.
It happens at the end of the game. Okay. So I don't think I ever got far enough in 8 or 9 to get there. So 7 is going to be
like on Final Fantasy Remix 3.
It's probably like the 4th disc in 2027.
On PS6. All right, my number 1 of all time, and it's still this.
Brock 1.
Really? Okay. Metal Gear Solid 3. The only thing I would change about this, and this is a big component, so stick with me here.
The controls are awful.
Yeah, like, and I know you have a lot of input here, but like, I think for me, it's part nostalgia. It's part the best story literally ever told in video games, I think. But Subsistence at least fixed a little bit of it by having you by letting you control the camera, you know? But still, like, holding like L1 and then circle to shoot and like square ducks, it's just, this is why I so badly, no matter what Konami did to Kojima, I so badly want this game remade by somebody, because pretty it up, do whatever, bring all the voice actors back, recreate all the cutscenes shot for shot, but like the one thing this game needs is better controls. And it's like, I remember it was almost 4 years ago when you went back, like I gave you my PS3
I couldn't get
copy.
The part where you, I think it's the first part where you see
Sokolov?
No,
the boss?
Ocelot.
Where you're sinking around and okay.
I couldn't get past that part. And
you have to like go into first person, and it's like,
I felt, I've never felt so dumb playing a video game before. Like, all of a sudden I'm like, how did I, and I used to be fine, and I think it's after playing 5.
Well, but games have come a long way in 15 years.
Well,
that's
true,
the problem.
yeah.
Like, it's
playing, but I mean, the controls I had to stop. The controls made me, I couldn't play that game because of the controls.
They fight you big time, yes. Yeah. But I think for me, when I'm about a little bit into the game, not even like an hour, like 15, 20 minutes, whatever, I get used to it again, the way this controls, and I can go back in my mind palace and everything. And it's still, like I said, I think still bar none, it's the best story ever told in video games. And it's like I was tweeting with Melody the other day. It's like, it's so funny that, because it just had its 15th anniversary. It's like, this is by far my favorite Metal Gear game. It's my favorite game ever. It's my favorite story ever in a game. And it's so weird because it was like Kojima. When you see what he's doing with Death Stranding right now, he is off the reservation. Like, he is freaking, he's gone to another level. Metal Gear Solid 3, I think it worked.
Now, let me stop you. So when you say this is your favorite game of all time, are you putting yourself back in like 2004, Kevin's
No, because I platinumed it.
Or even today, you still feel like this is the best game. Maybe not the best game, but your favorite game.
When I platinumed it like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, I was like, this is the best game
and it's not because of
ever made.
You think that it was so good at the time, but okay, so even today, you still believe that.
Yeah. Now,
okay.
if Subsistence never came out, like if you couldn't move the camera, I think it would be right there with A Link to the Past might be my favorite game of all time. If it didn't. But like that extra added ability. I started thinking, I was like, I'm slowing down here. Kevin Daddy XE is crashing. But like, it's no, if I didn't platinum it a couple years ago, I would wonder that. But like, and I'm gonna.
How was that platinum, by the way?
You can do it in one playthrough, but the problem is,
it doesn't seem like there's enough bonus stuff to make it.
But again, I've beaten it like freaking 12, 13 times. Like,
yeah.
It's, you got to get all the frogs. The frogs, not like frogs. I mean like frogs. But you got to get all the frogs. The only problem is you really have to play it with a guide, because you cannot, if you're just playing the game, you'll never see every keratin, like every frog. You won't see it. But the problem is you have to also beat the whole game without killing anybody. My problem when I platinumed it was I got to the very end when you're on the motorcycle with Eva. And it got to the point where there's one frog you have to hit like before the motorcycle crashes and she gets impaled by her. Like, that you have to hit this one frog when she's driving the motorcycle, she stops for like a half a second and then goes. And you have to get the sniper rifle and just know right where it is. And the controls, again, are not that great. So what I had to do was just RPG, beat the game, reload that save, go back without killing anybody, and beat the boss. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's probably my second most proud of I am platinum to God of War. You know what I'm saying? I love Patron.
Yep.
But that's it. Again, long story short, long story long, the controls for Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
So Ocarina, I can only think of one thing, and it was fixed in the 3DS. I'm saying I'm.
Is that on your list? Did it make your top 10?
It would be like 12,
okay.
11 or 12. Yeah. And Majora's right behind. Oh God.
So
take your 3DS. Take my 3DS. Just take it. Play Majora. Oh my God! Please.
That's not a bad idea.
No, I'm dead serious. Take Majora.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm so happy right now.
So Ocarina.
What? Ocarina?
Ocarina.
Ocarina.
Hey,
Ocarina.
The low hanging fruit is
But
the water temple, but specifically the boots.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was fixed in the 3DS one where you can just assign it to a button as opposed to having to like start boots normal. Oh, I'm floating now. Okay, go over here so I can sink again. Start R, move over to the iron boot. Like,
was there something else that was used with the C buttons that they didn't map?
No, the C buttons were the items. They just didn't count the boots as an item. It was just a different pair of boots you put on, just like the tunic and whatever. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
That's the only thing that I can think
The
of.
thing that I never like in any video game, which I brought up recently with Death Stranding, the whole running around the map and bringing the eye drops to the guy and taking the thing to this thing and I never liked that kind of stuff. It's optional, so I can't really hate on it.
But is it even when you actually get it? Is it even worth it?
Yes, I get it. I get it every time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that in Is there anything like that in Majora?
There's a sword you can get. I can't think of what it's called.
But is it that involved? I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, I want to say
swallow
it's,
that freaking thing. God,
I want to say it's similar. Like
Okay.
it's a trading thing you have to do. I think God, I don't know. It's been so long since I've played it.
Oh, perfect time. What are you doing?
Gosh,
Did
I don't
that
know.
happen?
It happened. That happened. That not really.
That happened too.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of.
There's literally there's nothing else. Like when I think of the 3DS version of that game, there's nothing I would change.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about Jabu Jabu.
I freaking hate Jabu. Jabu is 10 times worse than the Water Palace, at least on 3DS. Because I never played it on N64, so I don't know. But Jabu Jabu's Palace was just it confused me to no end.
I know it's easy to get confused when you're doing the Gerudo
I
Fortress.
can say when you're stupid like you are.
When you're doing the Gerudo Fortress
Yeah.
stuff, that can be kind of. But I mean, the game's. I mean, it's basically perfect.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking the 3DS version of it. I can't complain about the water temple anymore.
Yeah.
That's pretty perfect.
Yeah. There's nothing I would change about the 3DS version. Nothing.
Yep. I agree. And even the beginning part that I usually say Zelda games have, it's not that bad in this one.
It's not like Twilight.
Find
with the
like
freaking
30
goat herding
rupees,
shit. Yeah.
pick up some rocks
Exactly.
and whatever. You get rupees so you can buy your shield, and then you go. It's not that bad. It's not like herding sheep and
You
whatever.
don't even herd them. You have to
You,
freaking
like, tackle
sumo wrestle
them.
them. My God.
Oh God, the sumo wrestling. I hated that.
That was just weird. Like I feel like Link's getting molested or something.
Yeah, but again, not Ocarina. That's
Not
whatever.
Ocarina.
Twilight. Ocarina's pretty perfect.
So saying this, you still say you think Link to the Past is your favorite? I mean,
It's going to be one
I'm
of those
not gonna
things
argue
that
with
whatever
you.
I played most
You're gonna
recently
be
is
like,
probably going
holy
to be my
crap.
favorite.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe Majora makes my top 10 after I play it again. I don't know.
Majora is so much better. Like,
Better than Ocarina?
no.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's better, but I'm saying it's way better when, in my mind, I always picture this as like this unbeatable.
Oh, you were
game.
just saying it's better than you thought.
Like,
I thought you were going to say it's so much better than Ocarina.
I thought it would be a 5 out of 10, and it's like a 9.5. Like,
I think of Ocarina as a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
I think of Majora as like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Okay, you're taking
So
it. It's
that
done.
may change, but
It's decided. You're taking it. You're going to play it on the big screen. Yes, you're taking it. the big little,
screen.
the big 2-inch screen.
the big
Yeah.
little screen.
That's it. Patreon bonus episode 4. No game is without sin, as is no movie without sin. So let us know what in the comments is your favorite game that has bad parts.
Sure.
We've done 2 podcasts. I've had a little bit of bourbon. It's been a tough day. Please come home, Jess. You're not subscribed, so you won't see this, but please come home. You should support us. Brittany, you too.
Agreed.
Yeah. Sarah.
Support your husband.
And Sarah. Come on.
Oh, you're talking to a lot of people that aren't watching. And
Well,
especially
James.
aren't watching on Patreon.
James. That's what I'm saying. James. Tell Sarah to subscribe. To pledge. To patron.
To patronize us.
What's the score of the game?
23-0.
Who?
San Fran. They are
Bull
shutting.
crap.
They are shutting. Rodgers is 10 of 20 for 41 yards. Green Bay's not doing anything.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess they're a contender again. But until the next Patreon episode or next week's episode, whatever, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving and all that other fun
Yes.
stuff. Mexican, Canadian, everything Thanksgiving. John Bernardo, everybody. Thank you guys for playing. What?
Thank you guys for playing.
Thank you guys for supporting us. It's been a long day. Bourbon's good. Sean, take us out.
Thank you for playing.